As most parliaments, the Brazilian House of Representatives has already started its digital transformation. But the process of building this strategy was different comparing to our last strategic plans. Instead of considering contributions of a short group, we started listening to people of different skills and departments outside the IT department. A bit more than 110 colleagues discussed it and through workshops. And if I could summarize their discussions, I would say they've claimed for interaction. They claimed for connected digital services. They wanted new digital services, of course, but they wanted strongly connected digital services. So considering this need, we've designed the first phase of our digital transformation. So following, as I said, considering the focus of having connected digital services, we've designed the first phase of our digital transformation focus on the legislative ecosystem. We call it the Digital CD, Digital Chamber of Deputies. As goals, we've designed boost digital transformation of the legislative process. It should be the first one, but also support governance and management through data evidence, considering the whole legislative house. Leverage digital innovation. It is almost a valuing, crossing all our actions. Rise efficiency through digital solutions, since we needed to reshape the working process to new digital processes. And increase digital trust, which is a bit more than digital security. We know people need secure systems, but they also need to feel safe using them. Otherwise, we won't engage people to dive into the digital world. So as I said, we focused on the legislative ecosystem. Here, we're represented by the digital legislative platform. It encompasses the whole life cycle of the legislative process and a few systems that support them. From the left to the right, one can find the digital member cabinet, grouping not only the tasks that staff and the members need to work with, but also digital channels connecting citizens to the members' social media. And when a member demands a technical study to support a bill or a new bill, this demand can start at the digital member cabinet, and the flow goes to another system, the digital legislative consulting here in light green. Basically, the digital legislative consulting groups a lot of functionalities to support the lawmakers' experts, since the researchers until the moment when the bill is approved at the plenary. Among other functionalities, it offers automatic distribution of the demands for technical studies to the lawmakers' experts, semantic analysis on searching for similar technical studies or similar bills. It's very useful for the law writing. The impact of amendments and bills on other bills or laws, everything using artificial intelligence. And on the right, the main system that supports the core of the process. We call it digital legislative process, encompassing all phases from submission of a bill, crossing the committees, the plenary, until the moment when the act is published. But one important thing to say is that all those phases are already implemented through systems. However, they were not full connected. There are a lot of gaps among them. That's the main difference. We also need to restructure all the data model. And adding to the digital legislative process, one can see the InfoLeg app. Our app, which was launched 4 years ago to raise transparency to the citizens concerning the legislative work. During the pandemic, InfoLeg has received new functionalities to be used by the members concerning remote deliberation, remote voting. And now we intend to add new functionalities to allow the members to sign the bills and the other legislative documents through the app. Finally, on the bottom, we can see a system to support political leaderships at the committees as well as at the plenary. And just reminding, all those blocks are connected to each other. Everything is part of a process that touches the other process. And supporting them, we designed 3 programs joining projects concerning data, artificial intelligence, and security. Starting with the data program, it joins projects concerning to implement a data governance process to raise the trust, having trustful data, and to better establish the relationships among all actors involved in actions and everything that must be done with the data. A digital data literacy plan becomes very desirable, especially because we intended to we will see rising the use of the data for making decisions. The decisions will be supported by data evidence. And a few colleagues are not prepared to this new reality. A few dashboards concerning indicators of the main process of the house, and a policy for ethical development and use of AI, which is strongly dependent on data collecting and in data treatment. Concerning artificial intelligence, Ulysses is our set of AI algorithms, but actually here you can see a subset of Ulysses models to support the digital legislative process and the digital legislative consulting. And adding to those algorithms that I have already mentioned, I can I can say the speech transcription from voice to text, and the algorithms for grouping semantic arguments concerning a specific theme on bills and on speeches. Concerning security, digital security, digital trust is a program that aims to improve not only security technology, but policies, security policies, and the processes. One of the legacy of the pandemic is that all systems were moved to be accessed outside the house, as all institutions, most of them. And it implies, it results big changes in IT architecture, especially concerning security. Another key point is we need to combine security with the mobility for all digital services. A huge challenge. And if I could list the key factors for designing and implementing a digital transformation, I would start to just reminding that we are dealing with part of the Parliament's strategy. It's not an isolated IT strategy anymore. It doesn't work anymore. Second, build digital services based on processes instead of delivery systems to a specific department, to a specific organization unit. And as a consequence of this processes approach, we will have a complete view of all stakeholders necessary to be included in the discussions concerning this new digital service. It changes require new norms. Just for instance, before the pandemic, in 2019, we the members of the parliament approved a resolution to establish the digital legislative process. So during the pandemic, at the starting of the pandemic, when we needed a new resolution to deal with remote deliberation, it was easier because 50% of the path was already paved. And the same thing will happen with other issues like data governance, security. In case of security, we think we need to review all norms associated with our security policies. And just concluding my list and reminding too that we are dealing with people that are actors in a few processes who will be moved to play different or adaptive roles in new digital processes. So they need to be prepared to the changes. And with this, I conclude here our experience here.